Weldon, pumps, regulators, filters, fueling champions.
So Comella's car reminds me of the Deathmobile from Animal House. Looks all evil and kind of flat black, and he's going to try to lay one on Yantis here. And if he can, it would be an incredible story.
Well, he's had 3 red lights, right?
Yes, he has.
Yes.
He's got the hex on him.
Yeah.
Curly Westcott horsepower on both sides of the drag strip. Starting line advantage goes to Steve Yantis, and at the finish line stripe by 2 Hemi Barracuda lengths, Steve Yantis, 8:41.0, his quickest run of the meet. Here it is. They are green. Look at them, 400 Then he got one.
He got one. Oh, my.
8:36. Look at the speed, 161 miles an hour.
And so I just learned that I was not too awesome on the tree, but I thought it was a nice light. I thought I was wire to wire on her.
Is it one of those things that doesn't matter about the start, it just matters about the finish?
Nah, I'm not very excited about the 79 light, but
Maybe it's 71.
anything with a 7 I'm not very excited about.
Eldon Baum Jr. left side, Benny Kimberly and the right side. This is eliminations. These cars have all had 3 shots to get qualified and locked in the field. Eddie over there on the left side, the Hell's Hemi. And that's a dart. Benny Kimberly in the Barracuda. Benny was actually in Bowling Green last weekend at the big regional event doing some testing, trying to get lined out and ready for this. The car hasn't quite had the performance that I think he'd like to have, but I love it when it's a dart on one side and a Barracuda on the other because, well, you can't hate Hemi cars. But I think just about everybody on the planet's got a favorite one side or the other. I know you're a dart guy.
Well, that's what I had was a dart. The Dodge dealer there helped me with the car. And, it was a dart and a Cuda. They were basically the same car. The dart was 2 inches along the wheelbase, and the Cuda was.
Here we go, first pair, it's eliminations. It's the Mopar Hemi Shootout. Kimberly gets away with a better reaction time, but his car just a little bit lazy down low. By the time they've got 100 feet, Baum was out in front. He goes 8:55. That's better than he qualified. 157 miles an hour. How about the performance of your car back in 1968? How fast would it go?
We were on high 10s.
And how big was your tire?
10 inch.
And what was track prep consisted of? Somebody with a broom?
Out in Roston.
They've come a long way, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. But, a tire back then weighed probably 4 times what they weigh today.
Yeah.
I mean, you put that tire on there, you got a handful. Now, Jimmy's won this thing several times.
He certainly has. Broke the string a year ago trying to get back on the horse. That is the Ray Barton machine. Barton builds horsepower. Ross Campbell over here. We're talking about the Missouri Mule. Oh, and a red light start from the Mule. He dropped the clutch too soon, turned on the red bulb. Car made a little bit of a dart toward the wall. And then he pulled it back into the center of the groove at 8:46, Jimmy Daniels. The performance is amazing, and obviously, since you're talking about naturally aspirated, no power adders, a couple of big 4 barrels on top of a Hemi, weather is a big, big factor. And to put it simply, the weather is a little bit better for making horsepower today. That's why everybody so far is picking up. Steve Comella, that's your #1 qualifier over on the left side in the Barracuda.
Boy, he was fast yesterday every time he went down the track.
Yes, he was. 8:42 and an 8:43. Tony DePillo over here in the honking Hemi going to try to figure out if there's a way to stop him. Letting him get off the starting line first is probably not a good step.
That is not a good start.
#1 qualifier is moving on.
41.
8:41, 160 miles an hour. He lowers low ET of the event again. So it looked like they were making a little ground on Comella. Great work credit to do. Tony DePillo.
160 mile an hour is really impressive.
Yeah.
Because that's pure horsepower.
Tony DePillo goes 8:57, picked up almost a tenth of a second. and it still wasn't enough. Rich Locker's going to get a solo here. Jerry Cassidy is supposed to be in the right lane, but apparently he wounded the dart yesterday. If you were with us yesterday in final qualifying, there was some smoke coming out of her as it went down the racetrack, and they were unable to get it repaired and turned back around. So 8:58 for Rich Locker, and he will advance unopposed.
With a hole shot, made a big difference.
Bucky Hess, the Psycho Kudo over in the left side. Doug Faslor on the right side, driving the Earthquake car. I can't help but look at these cars, Herb, and don't take this wrong, because I love yours. Yours, you didn't spend quite that much on paint, did you?
Well, the 68 car, you hadn't seen the 68 car?
Yeah.
It's got one of the 1960s paint jobs on it. With all the swirls and all that bit. Eddie Wilbanks painted.
But I'm thinking about the hours that Travis put into that Psycho Kudo over there. Crazy,
oh, yeah,
right?
the Kudo, oh yeah, you can't compete with Bucky for him.
So Bucky's on the left side in the Barracuda, Doug Faslor over here in the Dart. We're talking about the 4 and 12 matchup here in round number 1. Red light for Bucky!
Oh my goodness.
By 16 thousandths of a second, he takes one of the quicker cars and puts it in the trailer himself.
51.
851, 157 the speed, not good enough. Faslor did not make a decent run. Gets down there, but he got the win via the red light. Faslor 5 is going to advance, and that is heartbreaking. When you see that out of the corner of your eye, it's got to be like, oh please God, not that.
This custom Kudo over here in the left lane, the guy that's built that car and helped him with it a lot, his name's Brian Kilgore. He's in the hospital battling pretty hard, I think, from what I understand. They asked me to mention that, and I told them I'll be glad to.
Absolutely. We send you all the best. All of our thoughts and prayers from Indianapolis Raceway Park. Got Rick Johnson over here on the right side. He's been doing this for a while. Did you ever race against him?
No, he was probably a little more when I was doing it.
He's been doing it a long time, I got to tell you that. Maybe not quite that long. Barracuda on Barracuda here, number 7 qualifier on the left side. And Rick Johnson over here, the number 15 qualifier. See if they have found enough performance to potentially help him move on. Well, he got some on the starting line. That's a big step. Doesn't look like he's got enough race car down to the finish line. Rhodes goes 8:49, better than he qualified, as has just about everybody, 158 miles an hour. And it looks like we're going to have another broke solo here. The folks at Mopar have gotten behind this big. Have you seen the new trophy?
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
Camshaft, that is neat, it really is.
That was put together right across the street by a guy named Tom Patsis, a company called Cold Hard Art. So we get to watch and listen to Gary Wolkowitz with his Hemi-powered Dart blasting down the racetrack, working with Jimmy Daniels. They've got a Barton engine under the hood. Hustling pretty good at the first part of the racetrack. And Johnson's horsepower garage lane lights up at 852, 156 miles an hour, and that is his best.
It cost him several $1 million because I talked him into building a Hemi car many, many years ago.
If you're the one that talked him into that, then you cost him several $1 million.
Yeah, that's what he told me. He told me when I asked, he said, let's build a Hemi car. He wanted to build a Chevrolet or some kind. He said, the only thing I know about a Hemi is spark plugs in the middle of the valve cover. I said, that's all you need to know. We took him to the track. I said, go down halfway down the track and shut it off. And he'd come back, he'd run it wide open all the way through, and I chewed him out. He said, I couldn't let off. I just couldn't let off.
Jim Pancake on the left side, that's the Dart. Lloyd Wolford on the right side. Engines Incorporated. His business down in Arkansas, also working with the Everyday Chef. I got another story for you here in just a second.
All right.
Yeah, that was a big time move on the starting line. Number 2 qualifier in the left lane. He's got his work cut out for him to get back out in front. No! Check it out on a hole shot. Lloyd goes 862 and gets there in front of Pancakes 846. 2 thousandths of a second at the finish line striping. That's why you got to pay attention on the starting line.
Longest running specialty race in NHRA history.
I was in the first one. I was in here at the first one.
Oh, you were in here in the first
Yeah.
one? I figured you were in the seat in the first
No,
one.
I've been there. No. No, I've been to every one of them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that many.
It is a pretty incredible thing to think about. 21 times this has been pulled off. We see so much of this stuff come and go, but these cars endure, man. The legend of these cars, the mythology of these cars, it all is so enduring.
Well, if we make 21 more years, I'll celebrate my 100th birthday. How's that?
I'll be honest with you. You got a better shot at making 21 more years than I do, I bet, the way things are going around here. So Eldon Baum Jr., the Winridge Farms Hell's Hemi will be racing against Doug Fazzalore out of Yuma, Louisiana.
Like I told Alan, was up here earlier, this is one of my very favorite days of the year, is to come here on Friday. I wouldn't miss it for nothing.
And to see the amount of great entries we had this year, about 20 cars attempting to get in. We've seen that number float up and down, but man, the cars we have, they're all strong.
Yeah, oh yeah. We've got several cars there down in the 50s and 40s.
So the burnout's being complete here. Doug Fazzalore, the earthquake dart.
I told Alan when I left a while ago, I said, I'm going down to the Dodge booth where my car is, and I'll be down there for a few minutes. I just left. I talked to a lot of people.
Well, listen, that car is so beautiful. It attracts so much attention. Of course, the first thing you see when you look in there is that Hearst Competition Plus 4-speed.
Somebody asked me where the roll bar was. I said, roll bar? I said, they had to make us wear a helmet back then.
And if you did have one, you probably would have made out of exhaust tubing to make it as light as possible. So this will come down, and as we have seen, likely come down to starting line reaction times here. These are two very closely matched cars, although they're doing something with Fazzalore's door, which they've gotten closed now. We'll talk more about that in a second.
You know, Doug's been involved in this a long time. He really has.
One of the great veterans of the category.
We're really missing the two-tone people.
Yeah, man, the Teuton family, just so influential, such great people. We now turn our attention to the starting line. Eldon Baum Jr made a move to the center line. Doug Fazzalore near perfect, a 003 light, but it looks like Baum may have more horsepower at the finish line. Horsepower reigns supreme at 867.5 for Baum. Fazzalore left on him but got outrun. Jimmy Daniels, a four-time winner of the Dodge Hemi Challenge, sits on the Johnson's horsepower garage side against the Carolina Cuda of Anthony Rhodes. Rhodes second to stage. Daniels gets a very slight jump on Rhodes by 16 thousandths of a second. Is he going to give any of it back? You take a lead with Ray Barton horsepower up the starting line of 47 beats a 48.
158.54.
Lloyd Wolford and Gary Wolkowitz coming up now. White House Station, New York for Wolkowitz. And Lloyd Wolford, who hole shotted his way out of he hole canned his way out of the first round. That was just a hole shot. That one was heard across the world. Really?
Yeah.
So his accountant blames you?
Yes. He said I caused him to spend about $3 million.
And Gary Wolkowitz has picked Lloyd's pocket. 852.2 at 156 miles an hour for Wolkowitz as he defeats Lloyd Wolford's 864.7 at 154.60. To their credit, both drivers on the tree. Wolford was 22, Wolkowitz was 28. And Rich Locker is being shut off on the starting line.
That's a shame.
Locker's car was pulling ahead to stage. It was leaking. The safety safari has shut him off. And that means number one qualifier, Steve Comella, will have a solo run into the semifinal round of the Dodge Hemi Shootout. Comella's car has been brutal, living in the 40s. Smoke emanating from the exhaust as he pulls fourth gear, but he keeps his foot plowed into it. 852.7. This is the number that scares me.
Yeah.
145.50 tells me that is a sick animal out there.
That or he just let off.
That's true too.
You know, he was way ahead. He might have just let off, save the engine some.
Well, here comes the semifinal round of the Dodge Hemi Challenge. It is the 21st running of this race, and we see some serious veteran competition here. Gary Wolkowitz and Eldon Baum Jr. coming up right now. The Hell's Hemi on the Dodge SRT side, and that beautiful flame Hemi dart on the Johnson's horsepower garage side. So since the last round, the cloud covers come in. This track's probably cooled off. If you're tuning this thing up, what do you do to it?
Maybe risen up a little bit. Those things are so temperamental.
Very subtle changes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't want to do a whole lot.
Maybe a little more launch RPM, maybe the track tightened up a little more.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be scared of that at all. Like I said, these guys all figured out this 4-speed's a better deal. And if the track gets better, you can pick it up a couple hundred RPMs and help you.
Back then we can talk about two-steps. Now you guys were the human two-steps back then.
Oh yeah, we didn't have any of that electronic stuff. We didn't. Like I told you earlier, we had a Hearst line lock. That was the electric thing we had in the car.
Gary Wolkowitz is in for a trip to the final of the Dodge Hemi Shootout. Oh, he jumped the tree!
Oh.
And Baum did a wheel stand, headed toward the wall, and shut it off.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It is a tough thing to put ourselves in that seat. I've never been in that position. You've been in a lot of high tension races, including the final of Pro Stock of this race back in 1970. Let's rewind the clock for a couple minutes. What did we see Comella's car do last time down the racetrack? It was not looking the happiest. It was not looking the happiest it's ever looked. Okay. That's why, listen, you do an investigative reporting down there. I went down there and asked him, it would be like me going to the Kremlin and asking him questions. You go down there and they'd spill the whole beans, they'd give you the tuna. Jimmy Daniels from Bristol, Pennsylvania. What was your favorite racetrack to win at? Because Daniels has won this thing 4 times. He's obviously comfortable here. What was your place?
Well, this place, when you win here, you change your life. Especially when you're starting out like I was. I mean, you really change your life.
For Steve Comella, a car that has largely lived in the 40s, and I'm not talking a little in the 40s, I'm talking in the good neighborhood of the 40s, down in the 42, 43 area. Daniels has not been that fast, but Jimmy's big advantage typically has been his starting line prowess. Comella and Daniels taking their spots for a shot to the final. Daniels' car trying to get sideways on him out there. He wrestles it back in the groove. Comella's car emitting more smoke, but he gets it done. 8:44.3, and look at the speed at 159.23 miles an hour. Daniels, to his credit, 8:52.7 at 158, and a stock car driver doesn't typically use the wheel as much as he had to out there.
Yeah, Jimmy lost something back in here in the early part because he wasn't, a mile an hour behind. And 8:44, that's incredible. That is just incredible.
You can look at drag racing in so many different ways, but I firmly believe Steve Comella has 100% earned this berth into the final round. You come in here, you qualify number 1, you just keep slapping people around with these 8:40s elapsed time. And I'm going to ask you this question because you've been in this spot too. Steve Comella has to know he's going into the final round with the better car.
Yeah.
You have been in a lot of final rounds with the better car.
Yeah.
The real question right now is easy. Does Steve Comella have a chink in his armor? Because he has absolutely had the best race car in qualifying and throughout the day today, but he's got Hell's Hemi in the other lane.
He has run 159 mile an hour. That's impressive.
He's run 160 mile an hour.
160,
that's even more
that's
impressive.
right, he did 161 run. I'm getting old, I can't remember everything.
So Eldon Baum in the left lane, Steve Comella in the right. Comella has had the fastest car. The bright red Barracuda out of New York. Can he close the deal? Yes, he can. Red light start for Eldon, and then his car hangs a right. He's got to take his foot off the throttle. Comella's been puffing a little smoke out of the back of that thing, but 8.407, 159. And for Steve Comella, he came, he saw, he conquered. He is the Mopar Hemi Challenge champion.
Last year, I wouldn't call it very smooth. Just we wanted to come in this year and kind of run the table and keep it smooth and relaxed and A to B every run. Didn't feel like last year was a very representative year, even though it was really fast and we won.
So you've won this thing 2 out of the last 3 years. That's got to be a special kind of, special kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Tell me about how this measures up in your drag racing accomplishments.
It's right up there. It was important for us to do this year to repeat. It was really important. I tried to play it cool, like it was just okay to, something I wanted to do, but really wanted to do it really bad.
Did you sense that momentum was on your side each time you went down the drag strip? I mean, you kept getting progressively.
Yeah, yes and no. With these cars, there's always an element of throwing the dice against the wall. I was very comfortable all week with the car. I felt like we had a handle on it. I've felt like that before, and it don't go down the track. So I was cautiously optimistic all week.
So I'm never going to get you to say that you were a safe bet this weekend.
Oh no, you haven't been around Hemi racing if you ever say that phrase. Yeah.
I'd say that the semifinals against Jimmy Daniels was probably, it was a repeat of last year's final.
Yes.
So I mean, you didn't get a break through the rounds,
Yeah.
right?
No, we ran every round. What I mean is, like, you never felt safe,
right?
Oh, no.
Like you
Never.
That
I never
fighting
feel
against-
that way.
Right, against Jimmy Daniels, for instance, because that was a repeat.
Yeah,
So
Jimmy's.
those last 2 races were basically like your 2 finals.
Yeah, Jimmy is. To me, Jimmy is. That's the guy. I don't care what anybody says. I thoroughly enjoy racing him, and the old man. They are our friends, and there is nothing better than racing him.